Congratulations! You have spent your entire life believing you touched things. Tables, phones, pizza, your dog, your loved ones. But science has some bad news. You've never touched any of them. Not once. In fact, you have spent your entire existence hovering a microscopic distance away from everything like some socially awkward ghost. And yes, that means technically you have never even touched yourself. Science is weird. Think about this. You press your hand against a table. Your brain says, "Yep, definitely touching." But your atoms are saying, "Nope, stay away, creep." Because atoms don't really like sharing space. They're basically cats. They tolerate each other, but don't actually want physical contact. You see, everything around you is made of atoms, and atoms are mostly empty space, which means your body is about 99.999999999% empty. The table? Also mostly empty. The chair? Empty. That expensive smartphone you're watching this on? Mostly emptiness. You paid $1,000 for emptiness. Congratulations. Let's zoom in, way in. At the center of every atom sits a nucleus. Around it are electrons, tiny little negatively charged particles. And here's where things get interesting. Electrons absolutely hate other electrons. Not emotionally, electrically. Because negative charges repel negative charges. It's like trying to force together two identical magnets. They push away, hard. So when your hand touches a table, the electrons in your hand meet the electrons in the table, and they collectively say, "Absolutely not." Then they create an invisible force that prevents the atoms from overlapping. Your brain interprets that force as touch, which means touch isn't actually touching. Touch is just electric rejection. Your entire life has been one long series of atomic restraining orders. Think about how weird this is. Every step you take, every hug, every handshake, every high five, every fist bump, every time you pet your dog, every time you slap your alarm clock because life is suffering. You never touched any of it. You're just surfing on electromagnetic forces. You are basically floating. Not by much, but enough for physics to say, technically, and physics loves saying technically, because physics is that annoying friend who corrects everyone. Actually, tomatoes are fruits. Actually, light is both a wave and a particle. Actually, you've never touched your own nose. Shut up, physics. Wait, then why don't we fall through walls? Good question. If everything is empty space, why don't you walk through walls or fall through the floor? Because electromagnetic forces are ridiculously strong. When atoms get close enough, electrons become very protective, like tiny nightclub bouncers. Sorry, buddy, you're not on the list. No entry. Those electric forces stop atoms from occupying the same space. And thankfully for you, they're really good at their job. Otherwise, every chair would become a suggestion. So are we just ghosts? Not exactly. You're real. The table is real. The pizza is very real. Sadly, calories are also real. But what we call touch is actually a sensation created by your nervous system. Tiny receptors in your skin detect pressure caused by electromagnetic forces. Your brain receives those signals and says, "Oh yes, that's definitely a table." Even though the atoms themselves never actually merge together. So touch isn't direct contact. It's your brain translating electric forces into experience, which honestly sounds like something philosophers would argue about for 6 hours, and then somehow blame Aristotle. The really weird part. By this point, you might be wondering, has anyone ever touched anything? And the answer is, science honestly doesn't know what touching should even mean. At the quantum level, particles behave more like probability clouds than tiny balls. Reality itself gets weird. Very weird. Like, an electron can be in multiple places at once weird. Like, observation changes outcomes weird. Which means the universe is somehow stranger than science fiction, and you're living inside it while paying taxes. So next time someone says, "Don't touch that," you can confidently reply, "Actually, according to physics, touching is an illusion created by electromagnetic interactions between electron clouds." And then watch everyone slowly back away from you. Because while you've never physically touched another human being, you have definitely touched their patience. And honestly, that's close enough.